Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:07. A good Monday morning to one and all, and thanks for tuning into O'Connor and Company. Coming up at 6:35, Maryland delegate Kathleen Saliga, 7:05, Joe DeGeneva, at 8:05, Stephen Moore with the Heritage Foundation, and 8:35, Sean Kennedy. He's president of Virginians for Safe Communities. I'm Julie Gunlock, joined by my friend Andrew Langer. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Julie. So glad to be with you on Cinco de Mayo.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. You have plans for tonight? Any margaritas in your future?
Always. No, listen, I celebrate. I take out a big jar of Hellman's mayonnaise. I put it in the sink. And that's how we celebrate today. Also, well, we're coming off the bender of Star Wars Day, which I know you guys celebrated over the weekend.
Well, we're a little past our Star Wars years in the Gunlock household. Teen boys wouldn't admit to it. So,
sure.
So no lightsabering this weekend.
That's good.
But we both had fun weekends.
Yeah.
You were doing the whole sort of Broadway circuit up there in New York, right?
Listen, you and I had a weekend Larry O'Connor would have been very proud of. And by the way, obviously, kudos to Larry.
Well, we're going to talk about Larry's weekend. My goodness.
Yes. But yeah, you and I both did the musical theater weekend. We saw 3 shows in 2 days up in New York City.
Well, by the way, not
time.
Together. Okay.
No.
You keep saying we.
Yes,
separate.
Yes, Julie and I came. You never know. It's like one of those episodes
around New York, going to
one of those episodes of Laverne and Shirley where they all go off to Hollywood. No, my wife and I went up. It was a great weekend. For Christmas, I'd gotten her tickets. She's a huge fan of this guy Jonathan Groff, who was in Hamilton. He won the Tony last year in Merrily, and he's doing a Bobby Darin bio musical, and so I got her tickets for Christmas, and then we saw the Stephen Sondheim thing.
That is very thoughtful. Good Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Well, it's like we're all about experiences now.
I'm going to give you my husband's number.
Happy to do it. But it was,
I famously have talked about my husband giving me a can opener
on
my birthday on this show. I'm not kidding. He did it. I mean, I'd said in passing, I need a can opener, and I could not believe it. He actually. Like 2 days later was my birthday. And in his mind, he's like, oh, I live for these moments. How nice that she said, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Did he wrap it? He
wrapped it.
Well, there you go. See, now then it definitely was a gift. So, yeah, we went up and it was just fantastic and great shows.
And you
fun.
had some great meals, too.
We did, as prep for the Cinco de Mayo week. We went out and had these wonderful meals. I'm reading real quick. I'm reading the Lorne Michaels biopic or biography.
Okay.
It's Lorne, the creator of Saturday Night Live. It's really, really good. And so we went Saturday night to this restaurant, Latanzi, which our listeners know, an old Saturday Night Live sketch about an Italian restaurant. I am now convinced that this is the inspiration of it because the guy was overly friendly. And
this was an interesting concept. You told me that it's sort of a sort of the fogo de chao of pasta.
So this was this other restaurant, Becco, that, it's in fact our good friend of the show, Barry Morgenstein, had recommended it to me. The small other Italian restaurant, Becco, they have a Sinfonia di Pasta, which is, you pay your money, and they have 3 different kinds of pasta that they bring out. It's all you can eat. Oh my God, it was so good. It was a wonderful weekend until we discovered that we were caught up in this craziness of the air traffic control in Newark. For those of you who are unaware and who are flying in and out of the New York City area,
nightmare.
20% of the air traffic controllers at Newark Airport have walked off the job, and United, because it's a United hub, United has had to cancel flights. We got the first notification on Friday. I have to go back to New York next weekend. First notification on Friday that my flight home next Sunday has been canceled, was canceled already. And then yesterday, we are literally are watching on my phone. The Uber is 10 minutes away, and my wife exclaims from the other room, "Holy S! United has canceled our flight and has booked us out." And I know Heather's going to cringe at this. Had booked us out on a flight at 6 a.m. this morning. Obviously, we couldn't do that. So we went. We rented a car from an enterprise in Hackensack.
So it turned into a road trip. My
yes,
goodness.
planes, trains, and automobiles.
I did tweet to you. I was like, "Well, you better be
yes.
be home by 4 a.m. because we've got to do our show." I'm glad you made it home. Okay. Meanwhile, I was also doing musical theater. My son,
nothing better,
performed in his high school play. And he was Captain Von Trapp, which,
nice.
by the way, we have been calling him Captain Von Trapp around the house. Like,
good.
Captain Von Trapp, your eggs are ready. Captain Von Trapp, put your shoes on. And yes, so he was in the, okay, we're going to play cut 3 because I want everybody to hear this. This was the solo he had to do. This isn't him, but cut 3, you'll all remember this song. Oh, it's the best song. So my son played Captain Von Trapp. He had a solo. And I'm telling you, Andrew,
nice.
You think I was crying?
Oh, I'm sure.
Here's an additional thing. I used to sing that to them as babies.
This was going to be my point. You folks, you never know how you're going to influence your kids by what you sing to them and what you read them when they're little. Because I know with my kids, their music they like is also, in no small measure, related to what I used to sing to them when they were babies.
Beastie
That's
Boys?
amazing. That's amazing. Okay. No, but that's amazing, Julie. I mean,
it really was.
So
and he's very good. Now, we've always sort of known he was, he had a really pretty voice. We'd listen to him in church. But goodness, I mean, to get up there on a stage, sit on a stool, and be able to sing that in front of a large audience, first of all, terrifying. But
yes.
He was excellent. He did a great job. So very proud of my son. He had 2 performances, again, in his high school play. So it was very fun.
That
anyway,
is amazing.
And the most important thing, last minute we're going to spend on, the most important thing was our good friend Larry O'Connor's daughter was married in California in a gorgeous ceremony in a beautiful church in California. He sent us, he sent Heather and me and Patrice and a few others pictures of his daughter during the ceremony. Afterwards, him dancing with his daughter.
Amazing.
And he was funny. He was like, I didn't cry at all, which we know he did. Larry is one of those types of people who will cry at a really touching commercial, just like, most of us. But anyway, so what a big, fun weekend for Larry. Congratulations to his beautiful daughter.
Opa, Mazel Tov. That is just amazing. As I said to Mercy on Thursday, I'm encouraging my daughters to elope. Or at the very least, have a very small destination wedding. So this is amazing. I don't want to miss the moment, obviously, of sharing that with my girls, but the pictures were just great.
They're beautiful. Well, listen, we will talk about this and many more things. We continue in just a moment, but first, it is 5:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Well, that's right. I'm not sure why we're playing this music, frankly, but Larry's daughter is now married. I can't hear you, Andrew. Is your mic off?
No.
Oh, there we go.
There,
it's my mic.
Yes.
It's my mic. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've sort of tied that up on Larry's daughter. So it really was.
Wonderful.
And I encourage everyone to look at Twitter and see the pictures. Larry posted a few. It was really a beautiful day. But it's so funny. I have to say one last thing on this.
Please.
We've both been talking to Larry about this, about his daughter's wedding. And he kept, he's so excited, of course, so happy. But, like any dad, he's sort of struggling, thinking, this is my little girl. He always says, and I, maybe it's me just getting so old. I looked at the pictures and I'm like, she really is young.
Oh, yes, that's, I believe me.
And of course this is a girl who's graduated from the Naval Academy. She's on, submarines.
Right?
She's got this very successful career, but boy, those kids sure are getting younger as I get older.
It really is incredible. Hey, it's funny on this score, because we get down to it. I briefly talked about this last week. Parents who are struggling, it never ends. I got a good friend whose oldest child is about to graduate from high school, and she's just sort of wrapping her head around this idea of kids growing up and getting out of the house. And I'm like, listen, the parenting never ends. It never ends. There's always something going on. So you take these moments.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a comfort. I'm getting up there in those years. Like I say, I've got 3 teenage boys, and I'm sort of looking and going, oh my gosh, they're going to be off to college soon. Anyway, let's move on.
Please.
We're going to talk to Joe DeGenova later this morning. He's coming up at his regular time at 7:05, but this is something people should be aware of. Mike Benz, he's great and does a lot of breaking news on Twitter. And he wrote yesterday on X, I keep saying Twitter, on X, he said, based on conversations I'm hearing in D.C., that there's some issue with the acting prosecutor in D.C., Ed Martin.
Right. Yeah.
He writes, if Ed is not confirmed, he is not confirmed. He's acting, but he has not been confirmed by the Senate yet. He said 15 days for the Senate to confirm Ed Martin. If Ed is not confirmed in the next 15 days, Judge Boasberg, we all know that guy, the chief judge of the D.C. District Court, will get to personally pick the top prosecutor in D.C. This would be the biggest calamity on earth for Trump 2.0. He said, he went on to say, based on conversations I am hearing in D.C., the blocking points for Ed Martin's confirmation are currently 5 Republican senators.
Right.
Senator Collins, Tom Tillis, John Cornyn, Bill Cassidy, and Senator McConnell. So, Andrew, this is kind of a nightmare.
Well, it is. I mean, and some of it is self-inflicted here because it's not just what's going on and questions about January 6th, but also some controversial things he's doing regarding going after nonprofit organizations and, sort of threatening their nonprofit status based upon what kind of content they're pulling out. That's something that we all railed against when they went after
political
groups like
actions.
No, some of it is kind of, it's the same kind of. It was. You may remember that CEI, the Competitive Enterprise Institute, was being sort of threatened with their nonprofit status for the advocacy they were doing on climate issues. But the bottom line here is that what we can't have is Judge Boasberg picking the top prosecutor in Washington, D.C., because this is a city that is on the precipice here. We need somebody who is going to actually be tough on crime here in town. And we can't let this judge pick that spot.
Yeah, and I don't know, Andrew, what has been the holdup so far. I mean, he's been passed out of committee, I believe, correct?
I don't think that he has actually. I think it's this situation. The Judiciary Committee won't hold a hearing on Martin's nomination in line with the panel's precedent for U.S. attorney picks. Chairman Chuck Grassley said in a brief interview this week that he hasn't yet determined when to schedule a vote to advance Martin, noting that members want to meet with him and that the committee is working through his responses to hundreds of submitted questions. See, now that's the other part of this, which is concerning. When you have members who are so overloading a nominee with questions, it essentially becomes a pocket veto to the nomination, and that's problematic.
Well, it's much more. I don't
Right.
I mean, when the alternative is Boasberg then personally chooses the top prosecutor in D.C., and we know, I mean, Judge Boasberg is not a friend to, I don't know, law and order and justice.
Right.
So I don't understand. In my mind, it's like, well, if the alternative is, okay, they extend it, or okay, then another nominee has to be put forward that Trump has chosen.
Right.
Yeah, fine. Okay, I get it. But drag your feet if you don't like this guy. But when the alternative is that Boasberg gets to personally pick the top prosecutor, that seems to me kind of an emergency, and just confirm this guy.
Right. It underscores. Listen, it underscores the liabilities that are in the system here, where you put these people out there, you give it a certain amount of time, and obviously there's an important role for deliberation to be played, especially when we're talking about the law enforcement powers of government. But at the end of the day, Congress can't abdicate its responsibility by overwhelming the system, because you eventually get situations like this where the decision is going to be made for them. That's a problem.
All right. Well, again, Joe DeGenova will be here at 7:05 to talk. We'll drill down on this and get some answers. Joe always has the answer. We've got more to get to. Right now, it's 5:23.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 5:37. Good Monday morning to one and all, and thanks for tuning into O'Connor and Company. Coming up at 6:35, Maryland delegate Kathy Salega. 7:05, Joe DeGeneva. 8:05, Steve Moore with the Heritage Foundation, and 8:35, Sean Kennedy. Did I say Sean Kennedy? What is wrong with me? It's not a hard name. President of Virginians for Safe Communities. I'm Julie Gunlock, who can't talk this morning, joined by my friend Andrew Langer. Good morning, Andrew.
It's Cinco de Mayo, Julie. You don't have to actually
I'm not
pronounce
drinking
words.
yet.
It's all right.
Couple margaritas with my coffee.
Yes. For this news, we need them.
Exactly. And we do have a great lineup today. But yeah, this news is kind of depressing. It turns out the case against Luigi Mangione is in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew, you want to tell us about this? Listen,
I am now convinced. You know, we've watched.
Is Taylor Lorenz behind this?
Without a doubt. This is what happens. Luigi Mangione. For those of you who don't remember, he is the gentleman who was accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO. He has become a cause celeb for the left. And
he shot him in the back. He stalked him.
Allegedly shot him in the back. But the his defense team filed motions on Friday, and I think this guy's going to get off, at least on the state-based charges against him. Essentially, they allegedly did not Mirandize him, read him his rights for almost an hour after they detained him at the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And I think that this is going to end. So all of his statements that he said about where he was he in New York, none of that may be admissible now in court because they allegedly did not properly Mirandize him. I think that the left is going to get their wish. Again, this underscores, by the way, why it is important to get law and order U.S. attorneys confirmed. And to throw back to the last segment, we need to get people who know their jobs and are going to do their jobs and not allow leftist politics to take sway here. This is just crazy stuff.
Okay, so it says here that the state murder charges might be dismissed, but does that mean there are other charges that can go through?
So he is charged. There's a federal track and there's a state track, and they've also made issues as to whether or not this is considered double jeopardy. I'm not sure how the elements, again, it's something we can ask Joe DeGeneva about this, sort of the different elements of the crimes and whether or not they're different crimes that are being charged. But that's just it. So there is a state track here in New York, and of course dealing with sort of New York state judges is a whole nother situation. But that's what it really is crazy that the left is going to get their wish here. This folk hero that they've created in what is someone who I think is deeply, deeply disturbed to sort of take this level of politics to the level of murder. Go ahead.
And just to remind everyone that this guy, Mangione, has been lionized, has been turned into sort of one of these folk heroes. He is good looking. He's a young man. He is, obviously very muscular, and I find him revolting, but many people don't. And he, again, has been turned into one of these sort of, it's like a Robin Hood figure, right? This the guy who comes in and kills allegedly the big bad corporate head of healthcare, this healthcare company that's, and people are horrible. They say, well, this guy, it was deserved because this healthcare guy, CEO killed millions by denying them coverage. It's a really sick way of looking at things. But this narrative has been carried on the left and by Taylor Lorenz, who just as of late last year was employed by the Washington Post, the New York Times. I just want to play a little clip of how she views this Mangione guy. Cut 4.
Smart. He's a person that seems like this morally good man, which is hard to find.
When she's talking there, she's being interviewed by a CNN reporter. They're sitting in a park. They're talking about Mangione and the trial, and she sort of drools over him and talks about how he's a good man. This is a man who allegedly, I have to keep saying allegedly,
yes,
stalked the CEO walked behind him, shot him in the back, walked up to him, allegedly, and shot him again at point blank range, and then walked off. I mean, and Taylor Lorenz thinks he's dating material. I want to play cut 5 just really quickly.
Actually, that feel like, oh my God.
Like,
Right?
oh my God. Like, oh my God. I mean, she is so weird and so morally corrupt. She's a ghoul.
That's the important point, is the moral corruption that's at work here. Because I don't know if you've also seen, Julie, but this musical that is based upon Luigi Mangione's life. I mean, we've been talking about musical theater this morning.
Really?
There is a musical opening in June in San Francisco. It is already sold out. The run has sold out. This is where we are in America today, in our leftist bastions.
Yes.
They are lionizing him by creating musicals.
We've always seen this, though. I will say, like, because this tends to make me panic a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, we are doomed as a people. But they did this with Manson. There's always this like segment of crazy women, crazy people who sort of idolize. You know, I
get
like,
it. Crazy.
I feel like
Listen,
I have to do it for my own mental health.
Listen, I get it. Crazy seeks crazy, without a doubt. We've all been there. We've all known those people in political circles. But you know, at the end of the day, right? You don't want to see a musical produced about this guy's life.
Exactly.
And
right.
But listen, if he gets the charges thrown out, believe me, this is going to be catapulted.
Oh, absolutely.
The next Democratic leader.
Okay, we'll have more depressing news coming up. No, I'm kidding. It just is so depressing.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
It's 5:43.
WMAL, making sense of mainstream media because the double standard is real. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
So, Andrew, on your travels this weekend,
ma'am.
any sightings of Jasmine Crockett?
You know something? I did keep my eyes peeled. I always keep my eyes peeled for Congress critters when I'm in airports, but no, thankfully, she did not. She did not
appear.
She did not come in front of me.
She did make a bit of a spectacle. She was spotted. This is from Representative Lisa McClain. Spotted Jasmine Crockett with a full police escort because she's so important. A police-funded police escort, according to McClain. She cut everybody in line, including, you know how when you're, I mean, you know this, you know, when you're waiting up to board a plane, they always take, you know, people with small children and the disabled first, right? You know, this is like the elderly who have to be wheeled onto the plane and then make it into their seat, and then the wheelchair comes off. She went ahead of even those folks.
Right. Got to get to your seat.
I have no evidence of this, but
Yes.
I suspect she wasn't in coach.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And you know, it's like, by the way, you just don't get it because you don't board early if you're sitting there, and if you're a member of Congress, unless you want to be seen, you want everybody to walk by you and say, "Hey, I'm in first class." Again, we don't know if she was actually in first class, but this is the old adage: rank has its privileges, which you're not supposed to take to heart, right? It's not supposed to be the way you want to work it. But this is not the way you're supposed to be doing things, Madam Member of Congress.
Yeah, and it turns out that Trump doesn't think a whole lot of her. He talked about her on the Sunday morning shows. Let's do cut 6.
I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. And they said she's the future of the party.
I listen. I certainly think so. I don't even think she's the future of the party. She is the president of the Democratic Party. This is the Democratic Party today.
She is absolutely the party. She and David Hogg are the future of this party.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. I say bring it on. Keep going. She is such a turnoff. And let's not forget, Jasmine Crockett, she was raised by good parents. She grew up in a nice area. She went to very nice school. She went to a private school. Then she went to a nice college. Totally middle-class upbringing. If you look at videos of her early on in her congressional career when she was first running, she's very well-spoken, very calm, very articulate. She turned this on. She turns this whole, like, you know, I don't even know what you want to – this ghetto act she's got going. It is an act. And that is, frankly, that's the future. That's what they want in the Democratic Party.
Well, this is the situation, right? Because it's not just so many Democrats go down this road of doing this, where they pander to whichever audience they have, right? It's the Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, whoever else, Hillary Clinton, right? Hillary Clinton carrying the hot sauce in her purse for the radio interview. But the idea of switching your accent and your cadence depending on which audience you're talking to. That is it. Listen, it is frankly, it's a form of minstrel show at the end of the day. And if I'm a voter of color, I would be offended by this. But yeah, this idea. And it's funny because I know we're going to talk about Michelle Obama later on, and her frankly whining about her inability to sort of voice her grievances. This is the issue here. You get folks who have enormous privilege in society and who have created for themselves this enormous privilege in society, and the behavior that you get to something. If you're a servant leader, which is essentially what a member of Congress ought to be. You put the public before your own interests. Wait in line. Wait till everybody else boards the plane before you go and you get in whatever seat you're going to have.
Also, the police escort, the full, police escort. It's so clear that she thinks very highly of herself, and she can't stand there with the masses. She's got to be loaded onto the plane early with her police escort. It does just betray, how privileged she is and what she thinks of herself, and that she can't stand, she can't stand there with the general public. That's too scary. She's too good for that.
By the way, let me just say on this story, because it was Lisa McLean. Lisa McLean's misstep here. She should have sent those pictures to somebody else and had somebody else put them up there. I mean, listen, I get it. I'm I'm the congresswoman who's waiting in line, but send it to somebody else. Let them do the dirty work.
Oh, I don't care.
Yes,
and honestly, there is so much, I think, ill will of Congressman Jasmine Crockett. She doesn't want to work with her colleagues across the aisle. She probably doesn't even want to work with fellow Democrats. All she is there to do is to make a name for herself, make things go viral, talk crap on little viral videos, do dances. She's a joke. She's not a serious person. It is embarrassing that her district voters put her in office. It's a national embarrassment.
Listen, this gets to what I've been saying. One of the great problems with America today is that any member of Congress now has the ability to magnify whatever idiotic things that they want to say by circumventing the normal channels here.
Well, I think Trump is very smart to highlight her. I think he is very smart, because this will this will increase her visibility, increase her name recognition. For Trump to say, of course he's insulting her, but ultimately this makes her more famous. This makes her name more famous. And I love it, because, hey, let's promote her. Let's promote David Hogg. This is the future of the Democrat Party. If you're a Democrat, this is your future.
And let's be really clear. David Hogg wants more Jasmine Crockett's in office.
Yes, he does.
I mean, that's the other.
Yes,
that's
he
the other
does.
thing, because you turn it around. She is exactly the kind of Democrat David Hogg wants to be primarying
100%.
other sort of reasonable people.
That's right. It is 5:53.